Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. And this is the last question that I got from a reader around, I think, this intersection of trying to understand do body sizes indicate what kind of disordered eating that you might have? And I think that question is a really great question to be speaking on. And it definitely comes from, I think, the lens of the belief system, at least in the Western world, that you can tell something automatically and unequivocally. Like we think we know something about somebody based on what they look like. And I'll just share a quick story and I hope this helps a little bit. So when I was a teenager, and I did some higher level care eating disorder treatment, one of the best things that ever happened to me, even though honestly some of the situation was really not the best thing that ever happened to me. One thing that aspect of that treatment stay was that I saw a big variety of people that were there with me for the same kind of root cause issues from any kind of disordered eating, as well as mindset and behaviors. But what was so fascinating about that, and it forever, honestly, it really helped my recovery so much, is to see this diversity of people. It wasn't just, a young white person like me. There were people in the 40s and 50s there with me. There were people from different backgrounds there with me. And there was actually a diversity of body sizes. And even there, at one point, there was a woman who was disabled, meaning her mode of transport, getting herself around was a wheelchair. And, obviously none of us really wanted to be there. But I think, I know, at least for me, that it blew open that stereotype and that mind control programming that thin people restrict and larger bodied people um, emotional eat or binge eat or whatever, and then all the mishmash of behaviors in between. It broke those stereotypes in my brain forever very quickly because they all had the same struggles that I did. We just looked different on the outside. And we had different ages, and these things were super inspiring for me to be able um, just to kind of cut it. I mean, I cut it pretty quickly because of that experience of fat prejudice and because we're all going through something and you can't look at somebody based on what they look like and make an assumption about their eating habits and the struggles they're having with either restricting, binging, purging, health obsessions, what they do or don't do with movement, because there was so much diversity in the stories. On some level, I was hearing the beliefs were all still there, right? Of I'm not good enough. If I eat everybody had magical thinking around food and how food works and how body physiology works, assumptions and projections that we probably all had toward each other that we had to face and that we were forced to. And that was such a gift and such a blessing. And so I'm hoping this answered this reader's question, is that eating disorders impact people of all shapes and sizes. You can't look at a person and make an assumption about their eating habits based on what they look like. Now, is it true that if you're routinely and consistently eating in a non-attuned way towards the edge of, eating out of non-hunger kind of consistently throughout a week, towards overshooting caloric needs, that the body might go up? Totally, just like the opposite direction. Now, the body does try to protect its set point range. And we know the set point ranges change over time. Like what kind of your stable weight is with like consistent eating and movement is going to be different in your 20s than it's going to be in your 60s. That's a good thing. Those are different reasons for that in terms of protecting us hormonally and all that, and what our bodies need to do in those seasons of life. But generally, if your natural body size is already geared towards, let's say, medium, and you're emotionally, let's say you're crazy eating or emotionally overeating, you're going to be a bigger size medium probably versus maybe a different kind of range. And if your body's naturally meant to be a larger body person and be well and can be fit. Of course, emotional graze eating and overeating is going to shift that as well. And so, but the reality is that like when people binge eat, larger body people restrictively eat. In fact, most of my clients who are probably the best dieters I've ever worked with are larger bodies because of the stigma. That's what they feel like they're expected to do to be less criticized. And so I'll just leave y'all with that is that there's not a kind of eating disorder that goes with a kind of body type. And I think it's just really important when you're seeking out support and care that you're really clear with the people you're working with, that your expectation is that they hear all of what you're doing and explore it and unpack it and try to understand what the functional undereating, emotional undereating or emotional overeating is. And that's a bare minimum that should be expected. And if people make assumptions about your eating or your fitness level based on what you look like, there's definitely a misattunement here that has to be spoken about. And I highly recommend that you speak to the truth of your experiences in your life. So thank you so much. I hope this video, this kind of series with emotional eating has been helpful to you, that you've read the blog post and they kind of added another dimension of visual learning for you, as well as some other tools that maybe I haven't said in the video. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next ones. Bye for now.